Hi Moglets! Today we're talking about 5 reasons to hate Genshin Impact. This is a 2-part series, hopefully posted at the same time as 5 reasons to love Genshin Impact, and this will be the other side of the coin. Like I said in that video, I'll have a pinned comment sort of explaining how this works really, this sort of one side of a review. But yeah, I've been playing Genshin since its last beta, so almost 2 years now, and I definitely have some pretty concrete opinions on the good and bad. Today we are exploring the bad. I'd say let's go ahead and talk about the most obvious one, the somewhat elephant in the room, and that is Gacha. There are several things to not like about Gacha in general, but also, Genshin's Gacha isn't really better than the average. There's just simply layers on top of layers of RNG. Let's say you're going for the 5-star character, in this case it's Itto. Per poll you have a 0.6% chance of getting him. They do at least have a pity if you're unlucky enough to actually hit 90 summons without getting a 5-star. But then when you hit the pity, there's a 50-50 chance that it's not Itto. The next time you pull a 5-star, at pity or not, it will be Itto. So worst case scenario, you're looking at 180 pulls. And considering each pull requires 160 Primo Gems, you're looking at a whopping total of 28,800 Primo Gems. You can slowly farm these for free with daily quests and opening chests and various events, but if you were to buy them, you would have to buy the most expensive pack 3.56 times, or we could just round up to $400. Or if you were to try and be super efficient, maybe somewhere closer to 360. But still, that is incredibly expensive for one character, if you happen to have the worst luck possible. And that's not even to mention, each character can go up to C6, where you need another one of those characters for each constellation. So again, worst case scenario, but if you're looking at a C6 character, you're gonna have to buy 25 of these packs. And yeah, your math is right, $2,500. Assuming you want one of the 3 featured 4-star characters over here, it's not that much better. Yes, you can probably get them much easier than the 5-star, but there's even more layers of RNG. First of all, 4-star characters are mixed in with 4-star weapons. For each pull you do, you have a 2.5% chance of getting a 4-star character with a pity at 10. So every 10 pulls guaranteed 4-star. They do have a sort of pity here as well, because if the first 4-star you get isn't one of those 3 characters, then the next one will be one of those 3 characters. But I would assume the vast majority of people looking to grab a 4-star out of a banner are looking at one specific 4-star. And in that case, you only have a 33% chance to win that pity, and then it's another 20 summons until you get another 1 in 3 shot at them. So it's pretty unfortunate. Gacha in general can be seen as quite predatory, the allure of a shiny new character to play around with. Maybe you'll get it on your next wish, but you better hurry because there's only 13 days and 19 hours left, and then who knows when they're coming back. You could have him for sure if you just drop another $100, maybe we'll give it to ya. So yeah, Gacha may very well be the biggest point on this list, but there are 4 more to go through. Number 2 is actually quite similar, and that's just the general existence of microtransactions. I don't think anyone really likes microtransactions. It's just kind of accepted when it comes to gachas, mobile games, free-to-play games, whatever. You will have microtransactions. $5 for a Blessing of the Welkin Moon, straight up Genesis crystals for your gambling addiction, and we also have the Battle Pass. Once every month and a half or so, you can spend $10 or $20 for this list of rewards here. But yeah, it has microtransactions. No one likes them. Number 3, I would say, is that it gets pretty repetitive. The daily quests are all quite similar. Most of the time you're just going and farming something with your resin. What can I say really? A lot of the events are somewhat similar. It's just kind of all similar in nature. If you don't always have some goal you're looking towards to give you motivation to continue the grind, to continue the slog, you're gonna get bored and burnt out very quickly, I would say. It's happened to me a couple times already, like where I was just aimlessly, farming for I didn't even know what. I was just like, why am I doing this? This is dumb. Always gotta have a sort of goal in mind or you're really just gonna get bored. And that brings me into the 3rd point rather nicely, because it's hard to always have goals when you are so limited by the resin system. It refills at a rate of 1 resin per 8 minutes. To go from 0 to 160 resin, you're looking at over 21 hours, and then a lot of content, world bosses, or if you're using any condensed resin, it requires 40, which is nearly 5.5 hours worth of resin. So if you're efficient and log on twice a day, you might be able to get like 4 world boss kills per day, or 4 domains if you're using condensed resin, which if you've been playing for a while, I imagine most people are using condensed resin. Why run a domain twice when you can run it once for the same rewards? If you just enjoy playing domains, that's a different story. But again, because of the last point about it getting repetitive, I imagine after a while, everyone's just gonna be using condensed. So when you get a new character and you haven't like fully prepared for them over the course of a month, Raising them can be a very slow and painful process, unless of course you start spending primo gems on resin refills, or if you've happened to hoard some fragile resins, you can use those as well. But yeah, I understand why the resin system is in place, but objectively, for the player, it is a bad thing. Up at number 4, and this is a pretty passionate one for me. The RNG, just overall RNG, but mainly the artifact RNG. It is atrocious. It belongs in the trash, and I hate it to my very core. Do you see these artifacts? You get one of these artifacts for 20 resin, right? Assuming you're at least AR45 and doing the hardest domain. At least 99% of these have zero chance of actually turning out good. There are layers of RNG on top of layers of RNG. It starts with deciding what you want. I want Viridescent, but oh look, in the same domain we also have Maiden Beloved, something that has literally nothing to do with Viridescent, so you do a run, spin to Condensed, worth 40 resin, and you get 2 Maiden Beloved pieces. Has happened to me plenty of times. And then finally, you get the Viridescent you wanted. Oh great, it's a goblet, I needed a goblet. Uh-oh, but its main stat is HP %. I definitely don't want that for my Kazuha. So then you try again, get a couple Maiden Beloveds first and then the Viridescent, and then the substats aren't right, but assuming the main stat and substats were right, which is already like a massive victory in terms of RNG, you then have to enhance it to +20. Assuming it didn't start with 4 substats already, which is another point of RNG, you enhance it to +4 and get a random substat. This flat attack is no good for like anyone almost. Actually, probably not anyone unless you're like super early game. And then every level after that, 8, 12, 16, and 20, one of these 4 randomly gets boosted. Most of the time it's 1, maybe 2 stats you're actually rooting for. And then the other 2 or 3 are either acceptable or you really want to avoid them, like flat def or flat attack. And each one of those steps is another layer of RNG. Does it actually get better or not? I did a video a while ago of the chances of actually getting a perfect artifact. I don't believe I even took into account raising it. Which is a whole nother bag of worms. But the number was something insane, and yeah, after grinding somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 to 7,000 artifacts, yeah, I believe those odds. And for point number 5, I'd like to say it's the fact we have very little in-game content. Every new update, they're making it better for new players, which, I mean, it makes sense from like a business standpoint. You want your new players to stick around and maybe they become whales, whatever. But really, show some love for your mega in-game players like myself as well. Currently, we just still have Abyss. And yeah, it gets changed every now and then, and that's cool. But why not make a Spiral Abyss 2? Or just something different. Something that really tests our characters. And I understand that's not going to be as friendly towards free-to-play or newer players, but honestly, they have so much other stuff to do right now. I guess mainly newer players. Free-to-play just kind of gets screwed here. But like, they keep adding new areas, new events, but like nothing that is truly difficult for those that have really min-maxed their characters. And yeah, whales who have like C6, R5 characters or whatever. 36 starring Spiral Abyss once every other week isn't cutting it. So the final thing I want to talk about is what I mentioned in 5 Reasons You Should Love Genshin, and that is the fact there's no PvP. Like I said, there's a good and bad side to that. The bad side is it makes the game less fun, in my humble opinion. When you can fight other players, that would almost solve the issue where there's a lack of in-game content, right? If other players are the in-game content, yeah, that kind of solves it in a way. I mean, of course, they would have to do it right. A ranking system where whales would get paired with whales, etc., like an SR system. But if they were to implement it right, or just in some sort of fashion, I could really see it being an interesting piece of content. But I haven't heard any plans about ever introducing PvP to this game, and that's what it is. That's the bad side. But yeah, that'll pretty much do it. Make sure to tell me what you think in the comments down below. Again, pinned comment down there, sort of explaining what's going on. But yeah, dropping a like or subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.